Good morning. Welcome back. Today is the 28th of August. We have, I was about to say it's the last day of the trading month, but not. We still have one trading day left. So this is the second from last trading day of the month. So we just treat it with like an end of week. 1 second. Right. So let me just make sure my platform's up and running. Okay. So today is the 28th of August 2028. I'm going to go through my pre-market prep. Before we start, let's look to see what news could move the market. Let me load up my order flows. That normally puts in my news as well, my news widget. And then we can go from there. Okay, so today, 9:45, we have PMI. We have PMI coming in. Consumer sentiment coming in at 10 a.m. So quite a volatile time at 10 a.m. We've got a Fed chairman speaking as well, and then we've got payroll coming in at 10 as well, and then 12:15 we've got more Fed stuff. So it might be a bit of a volatile day. Anything before market? No, nothing before apart from an FOMC speaker. So just be wary 9:45, 10 a.m. and 12:15 today. 10 a.m. looks like the big one. There's lots going on, as you can see on my screen. Going back to my pre-market chart, let's just go through levels I'm watching today. As it's the end of the week, let's go to the weekly chart to see where we are. Interesting to see that we've got a inside week. I'm not interested, it's not very exciting. Low volume as well. It's a green week with low volume. What does that mean? Doesn't mean a great deal, but maybe we don't have much support from buyers at the moment. We have bounced off of that area as well. You can see we were holding it last week, and we bounced, but we are still within that weekly consolidation. A little bit of a volume shove, not a great deal of volume considering where we are. We should expect to see more volume up there. So it's a low volume. This is a kind of a low volume bounce. We are overbought at the moment as well, almost up the 70% area, and we are pretty extended away from I've got the moving averages on there for some reason, but let's drop down to the daily. Do I get my moving averages back? That's strange, isn't it? No moving averages. We should be seeing 20, 50, 200. There we go. Got some back now. Okay, so they're back. I must have disabled them for some reason. I don't remember doing that, but there we are. So we are pretty extended away from that 50 moving average, really extended away from that 200. Let's go back to the weekly. Here we are. We've got some distance until we get back down to the 50. That's our home base and happens to be an area of support. 7,000 psychological number. We are pretty extended from the 20 moving average as well. You know, last time we came back there, when was that? Beginning of, end of July. We kind of bounced off of that 20 moving average. So let's just go straight down into the hourly, daily, and then just see where we are. Yesterday, we are seeing increase in price, and we are seeing a slight increase in volume. That's marginally okay. You know, we're not seeing massive amount of volume, but it's grinding volume. So maybe we might retest this area. Are we potentially looking at a left shoulder, head, right shoulder? Coming into a volume shelf above as well by the looks of it. So around 77.80 is a potential volume shelf. Look where we were there over the last few days. Top and tail, top and tail, top and tail, top and tail. We then got through and then immediately rejected that area. So this is a zone to watch as well. Now look at the volume shelf to the left as well. Smack bang at 77.76. So that's a potential area to watch for a reaction. We talked about the reaction down here, and we kind of had it. We held it, we held it, we held it before bouncing. We're now kind of holding that 20 moving average. I don't really look at the 20 too much on these higher time frames. And look at volume from yesterday as well. Slightly above average volume on a indecision candle. So, you know, we had half sellers, half buyers, slightly more bullish, but with slightly more volume than the previous few days. So nothing really exciting to look at as well on the daily. So it's pretty dull charts really at the moment. So let's just go straight down to the hourly for some levels today. I did put some trend lines in. That's our breaker trend a few days ago. This is our first head and shoulders, our neckline. This is our break, and that's our retest yesterday of the neckline, 7,700. So that's a key area to watch again today. We are holding this hourly uptrend. Noticed, depends where you want to put your trend lines. I just put it on that pivot there. We've got a trend line going there as well. Come back, retested it, come back, retested it, breaking them out. So I'll be watching for a bounce off that trend line still. So levels on watch today for me. Obviously, if we sell off, I like this area down here, 7,700 all the way down to 7,690, this zone here. Massive volume shelf, point of control runs right through the middle of it. So I'll be watching for a bounce down in that area. Look where we bounced yesterday, exactly what I said we should watch, and it was a great bounce. I also like this pre-market low area for a bounce. I know it's pre-market low, but if we come back down into that zone, we are retesting those previous areas of confidence. Look at that big volume shelf to the left as well. Sorry, someone at my door, that's a postman. So look at that big volume shelf here to the left, massive amount of confluence and consolidation. We rejected it previously, then we broke out, and then we're holding that area. So for me, I'm going to watch 77.36, maybe down to 77.30, this zone here for a potential bounce. If we lose pre-market low, then I'll be looking for a break and retest back into that area for a short. Keep an eye on 77 as a potential target. We can't ignore yesterday's low as well. So a couple of pivots there, in the post and pre-market, and it's actually yesterday's low. So look for a bounce back down that 77.10. That's our area to watch, 77.10 to 7700. That is it. Really simple levels. ORBs today. If the ORB can get above yesterday's high and pre-market high, I like it long. Otherwise, if we can get back down into pre-market low, the reason I hesitated is I like the break and retest short as an ORB, but we are extended from there at the moment. Maybe we can look for a short back down into that zone or onto that trend line. So that is a potential 2 ORB shorts and 1 breakout. I do not want to go long into pre-market high or yesterday's high. I would rather take a break and retest long of both of them. And that is pretty much everything for today. Looking at SPY, pretty much same levels. We're curving around this area here, as you can see. I like the breakout over pre-market high long. Otherwise, if we pull back to pre-market low 770, I like that for a bounce as well. The only shorts I like maybe is that one I just discussed, the ORB short back into pre-market low. But unless we break pre-market low, I'm not looking for shorts. I'm going to be slightly bullish today. SPX, we are coming into yesterday's high, so inside yesterday's range, don't forget. That's around 77.40, 77.50 area. Look at this massive big area of confluence on SPX. So that's an area to keep an eye on, 77.50. So I do not want to be going long into that area. If we break that, look for a break and retest long. Otherwise, we can watch for a bounce off these confluence areas. 7,700 is a psychological number. NASDAQ next. Doesn't look great. Looks horrible, actually. But we are putting some heavy consolidation in that area. Look where the point of control is as well. Smack bang there. 29,600. Keep an eye on that area of potential bounce. You know, we've held it all the way through the post-market and pre-market, the Asian and European sessions. So if we can get over yesterday's high, I like it long. Otherwise, potentially, we are looking at breaking that trend right now. Retest it for the short. Do I like the short? Maybe, but I prefer to see it break down below pre-market low, below 29,600 short. There's also 29,600 as a long area. I'm looking for bounce areas. Look at that big volume shelf as well. So we can watch pre-market low for a potential bounce, a bit like ES. We can also keep an eye on this area of confidence down at 29,300 as well. Maybe yesterday's low, 29,500 is a half of a psychological number. So that's maybe something we can't sniff at. So keep an eye on that area as well. QQQ. Again, it's putting in this curvature, this little kind of inverse head and shoulders pattern. We want to see volume. We are not getting it here. We want to see volume on the buyers taking it out. Massive big volume shelf, big area of confluence as well, sitting around that 720, that 716, 718 area. The only longs I like is if we can break out over yesterday's high, pre-market high, break and retest long, or if we come back down and retest pre-market low and that point of control, that nice volume shelf there. That's the only longs I like. Pretty much the same play on all sectors at the moment, on all charts. Oil, red today. Is this the end of a trend? Downtrend? If it is this an inverse head and shoulders pattern? Maybe. If so, are we retesting the neckline? So keep an eye on this volume shelf. Massive big point of control in that area as well, and we're coming right into it. We bounce. That's why we like looking at these volume shelves. Look at that for a bounce today in the pre-market, smack bang on that volume shelf. So this acts as potential support or resistance. That's why we keep an eye on it. So for me, if we can get over that VU up over 83, maybe look for a long into pre-market high, yesterday's high. We're smack bang inside yesterday's range, makes it really difficult to trade. Otherwise, if we lose yesterday's low, come back and retest pre-market low and then retest this volume shelf. What was the floor is now the ceiling. I like it for the short under 83. That's under 82.20, under 82.30. Gold. Putting in this nice little stair step down, putting our high, our left shoulder, head, right shoulder, our neckline, our break and our retest. Also retested against that trend line. That's a valid break and retest there. If we missed that, you had to retest yesterday. We haven't taken out that pivot yet, so it's still valid. For me, I like the bounce down at 4,600. That kind of goes with this trend line. Otherwise, we need to break down through yesterday's low, pre-market low. Let's look for a break and retest short into yesterday's low. If we can get above pre-market high, then I like the long over 46.78, back into that yesterday's high, pre-market high area long. We've got a big volume shelf to try and take out. Could act as resistance. It was resistance yesterday or yesterday's morning. Let's keep an eye on that 4,700 psychological number as well. Let's mark that up. That's the area to watch today. Target or rejection. RTY next. We are holding this 3,000 area pretty well. Look at this volume shelf and that zone. This is that psychological number. Held it again yesterday, couldn't get through it, broke up. And then we're coming back to retest that point of control. So for me, pre-market low is a bounce place. If we lose pre-market low, it's a tough short into that 3,000, but we could watch that. We've been holding it, holding it, holding it. You know, in the market, I like to think history repeats itself. We bounce once, bounce twice, 3 times, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Are we going to get 11th bounce at 3,000? Or have we knocked on this door too many times and suddenly the door flings open? Let's see what happens at that area. If we can break out over pre-market high, yes, I like it long. Taking out these pivots as well. Just be wary of that little pre-market pivot. It is a volume shelf and a confluence area, so it might be a tough long as well. Might be why we've been rejecting it for some time now. We want to draw trend lines in. Is this a little bear flag? Is this a break and retest of that bear flag? Not very well drawn. Should be down there like that. Just be wary of that. YM, how are we doing for time? Oh, I've got 12 minutes. YM's pretty narrow range as well, so we really want to be taking out those pivots there for the long over 53,720 area, 57,750 into 53,800. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. We're kind of broken out. We come back, retested it. I do like it breaking out over those pivots. We'd be taking those pivots. Notice there's a lack of volume, or not lack of volume. We've still got quite a lot of volume there, but less volume than above and below. So we can use this area as a potential target. 54,000 is a psychological number. And then finally, Bitcoin. Still holding it up here. Still looks pretty bullish at the moment. We're holding that trend line as well. We bounced off it yesterday, came close to it, bounced off it in the post-market, pre-market. So for me, we are putting in higher highs as well. So it's in an uptrend, hourly uptrend. A break and retest over yesterday's high into that 83 to 84 area zone. The only short I like is we break down, come back and retest 80,000 short. We're kind of in that 80,000 area now, but I want to see it take out this area here. Look at that volume shelf to the left as well. Pivot, confluence. So I want to see it break and retest short. That's the area I'm watching. And I think that's pretty much it. That's everything. Got my order flow back in again. So delta divergences, price is increasing, delta is increasing. So whatever happened at 9:05, that was someone speaking, was it FOMC member speaking? And then we had a bit of a divergence there, but that's news related, so kind of ignore that. And then we kind of sold down. So nothing really too exciting to look at on here. Looks pretty much the same if you scroll out, zoom out. Massive big reaction up there. We had 137 buyers with no sellers, so that's basically sellers absorbing. There's a big seller sitting there, the buyers bought in and we sold off. And that would be that area there. Got 10 minutes, loads of time. Good morning to Mo. Good morning to Craig. Welcome back. Good morning to everybody else. I'm just going to go and grab a drink of water. Good to be hydrated. I'll be back in a second. Getting a bit of volume coming in over the last hour. We normally do in the pre-market. I've got a new video dropping today, 6 p.m. my time. So what's that, 1 p.m. Eastern time roughly. It's just one of the trades I did this week. Remember I did the recap live on the stream, on the live stream. So I kind of just put some graphics in and edited. I put a bit of pre-market prep in it as well, just to show how important it is to have a pre-market prep like what we're doing now before going into the trade. And you know, you don't just get up at 9:29 a minute before the market opens and start looking for trades. You need to be prepared. So everybody here right now, you know, this is good also good habits now. Just having your levels in place before the market opens, having a plan in place for the market. We know what we're doing. That's why we go through the pre-market prep for that exact reason. Back down and keep my hourly chart open so I can see what's going on. So remember, I'm looking over 75.55 for the long. I'm not going to go long into that area. It's a double key level area there. Yesterday's high, pre-market high. I do quite like the bounce down here at 77.36. I can show you my pre-market prep on here. So these are levels I'm watching. Look, yesterday we had two. Remember I called these levels yesterday. Both were perfect. So I'm not sure. I didn't look at the day before. But yesterday, 77 was a nice bounce. 77.40 rejection. Let's have a quick look. 77.40. Do it on my 30-15 minute. That's yesterday. Oh, look at that. So I said watch for 77.40 rejection. That is literally 77.41. And so there you go. That's why we have a pre-market plan in place. 77.40 rejection. If pre-market low breaks out, then watch for a break and retest long. But we went for the rejection. And then obviously 77 bounce to 77.06. Yesterday's high area. And then where did we get that? 77. There we go. So that was the open yesterday. Hang on, I'm looking at the wrong level. I'll get back to that in a second. 77.0250, that's our bounce. And then 77.40, which I said watch for that rejection. We had that rejection at around 11:30, 11 a.m. So it's the same level. That's why we look at pivots on previous days and previous days high. We always get reactions, or we generally get reactions around there. And notice, look how we're consolidating around that area again today. That's why I quite like 77.40 for a bounce. Did I put that in? Yeah, I put 77.46 breaking retest short against the trend, that is, but 77.36.50 bounce of pre-market high volume sharp area. So it's the same area as yesterday, but we're looking for a long instead of a short. So again, having a pre-market plan in place is absolutely essential. You can't just come into the market and just start trading. You know, that's like suicidal trading, that is. Market opens in 5 minutes. That's our range yesterday. This is our 5-minute chart, top left. What I do like to see is this area here. Look at that. Big area consolidation, that zone there, 77.40. That's why I like that area for a bounce again. Or not a bounce again, it was a rejection yesterday. That was the rejection there we just talked about. This zone here. I was out of it by then. I did my trade and I walked off, so I didn't have any more. I tried to only trade the first hour, maybe 2 hours in the market. I don't want to just be sitting here watching it. What time was that? That rejection was at 11:20. Look at that. So I wasn't around for that. And we rejected it later on at the post market as well. So another key area. So that's a key area to watch today for a bounce. What was the ceiling hopefully will now become the floor. We're coming right into it shortly. I won't be around on Monday. It's a bank holiday here in the UK. So I won't be doing any live stream. I'm not sure. I'll leave my 24/7 NASDAQ running. I'm actually going away as well for the weekend. Going to Silverstone, which is a Formula 1 Grand Prix track here in the UK. And there's a festival going on called Car Fest. So it's like a music festival combined with cars and racing and fast cars and stuff like that. So I'm going to be there this weekend. Looking forward to it. Some big names performing as well. I'm going to tell you the lineup are. Got Tom Jones, Nile Rodgers, Rick Astley. I don't know some of them. Jessie J, Sugar Babes, Sophie Ellis Bextor, The Proclaimers, James Morrison, Gabrielle. So it should be a good weekend. Looking forward to it. I think it starts today, but we're going up tomorrow for 2 days. Okay, market opens in 2 minutes. We're coming into that bounce area now, so I'm going to watch for this area on the open. We're kind of filling that little 50 moving average, 5-minute 50 back up now. So I do quite like the bounce at 77.40. If we can get down to there. Oh look, we might be bouncing already. 42, 45. So again, I've crossed my right, make sure my Apex copy's on. Which it wasn't. Good job, I checked. How about that for a bounce? We just say keep an eye on this 77.40 area, 77.42 within that zone. I do really want to take it in the post-market. I'd rather wait for the pre-market. Oh, sorry, not pre-market. I'd rather wait for the actual regular market hours. Okay, market is now open. So I'm actively looking for a bounce in this area. This is that confidence area, but I'm not going to jump in. I'm going to wait for confirmation. I'm waiting for, we've got Delta coming in. Buyers are coming in right now. So I'm looking for a long right off the open. As soon as we break that 2-minute downtrend, which is about now. So I'm now long. Are we going to get a quick move up? Lack of sellers down here. Am I long? Am I? Oh, I didn't have my strategy running. That's fine. Leave that in. So I've got 10 MES contracts. And my stop is down here. Let me just put my stop in. So I like this for none. Okay, that's better. So I didn't have my strategy, so I had to automatically put my stops in. I'm just quickly trying to calculate where my stops are. Oh, what's going on here? Oh, I've got my wrong accounts enabled. Oh, looks like some of my accounts have hit their trading drawdown. Okay, these are my legacy ones, so they renew shortly anyway. Okay, so I've only got a couple of accounts. I think they actually renew today, or I think they might renew tomorrow actually. So I'm pretty sure there's at the end. Well, we didn't get the reaction I wanted. A massive buying pressure came in. We broke the 2-minute trend, so that's all in. Coming into that area of confidence, I was watching for a bounce. It's this area here, 43. If it hits 43, then I'm coming out of that anyway. Still like this for long. I might look to add, but I'll only add when we break out over 50, 77.50. And that was my break and retest long area from the pre-market. So I'm watching that area. Mo, oh, thank you, Mo. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Nice to get away. Although I think the weather looks a bit crappy, but it doesn't matter. And then on Monday, that's what reason I won't be around. I'm in Milton Keynes, so I've just booked some tickets to go skiing down at the Snow Bowl. So the kids are gonna go sledging, and I'm gonna go skiing for a couple of hours. But I want to be back in time anyway. We're not getting that reaction. We had the massive big pump there from the buyers, but the sellers absorbing this area. So as soon as I saw us break out and I saw all the buyers coming, I thought this would have been a good bit. We're just not getting the follow through, and it's about to stop me out. Got my stop below that pivot there. If that invalidates, and I'm out. In fact, I need to put my other stop in as well. I've got 2 stops. What was that one? I've got. And that one. Okay. So I still like it long. We've just not got the follow through. And like I said, we've got the bounce in that area. Exactly what I was waiting. That's exactly the bounce I was looking for. But I just want to see it continue on. So it's slightly bullish. Our NASDAQ is a massive big red candle. So maybe that's why we're just stalling here. Here we go, come back into that break-even area now. Let's look at the order flow. We had a negative delta on a red candle on a positive delta. That's a good sign. Buyers are coming in there. We've got big buying breaking out over that red candle as well. Big and negative delta, 571. Although we didn't have any buyers on that candle at the top, but we've just taken that candle out now, so looking good. Didn't have the follow through you would expect to get from sellers, but we know that we saw the buying pressure coming, so I'm now back green on this trade, which is good. Still like the long. Maybe I should have waited a bit longer. We do have a low, a higher low, a higher low, slightly higher low, and we just took out that high, and then the higher highs, higher high, and we got a higher high. So it's looking good pattern wise. We got this delta down in the bottom right corner here, massive aggressive buying coming in. So I want to see the buyers basically outbuy the sellers, and then we should get a massive big green candle come in. Otherwise, we've got sellers absorbing. There's not a great deal of volume coming in though, I must say. 3,500, 2,600, 1,600, 2,000, 2,000, 1,700, 1,100 currently. $9.45, beware of that 10 minutes. That's when we've got news coming in. That's PMI, Chicago PMI. And then 10 a.m. it's a big one, consumer sentiment, so just be wary of that. Negative delta on a green candle. So looks like sellers are starting to reduce now. Big aggressive buying coming in, and then we had a small negative delta, and then we had an even smaller negative delta. So this looks good for the long. So this probably should be in a better confirmation here. So I like it long now. I haven't got my automatic strategy on, so I need to work out what my targets are, and we can do that quickly. It would have been pre-market high, which is around 75.55. So let's put it in, because I never take a trade without knowing my stop or my target. Let's tighten up my stop now. So I've got a 1-to-1 target for pre-market high, then I want to see it break out over that area. And then my next target, well, that'll be one of the levels we discussed earlier. Well, that'll be over. That'll be looking for a break and retest a pre-market high. And I said we keep an eye on 77, 78, I think it was. That's going to be another target then, 77. I'll just put that in there, just so we know it's there, and I can keep an eye on that later. Okay, this is doing okay now. This trade's doing really well. So nice easy trade, although took a while to get going. So targeting pre-market high for my first half, and then that level we were watching it's a pivot from Wednesday the 19th of August, and it's a bit of a confidence area, and it's just underneath a volume shelf as well, and that's at 78. Come on in, buyers. So even though I've got my ES chart on this screen, and I've taken it on the sim, my sim account as ES, it's copied over to my Apex accounts as MES. So you can, on the copy, you can tick the cross box and it will cross it over. So if you buy NQ, it will cross it to MMQ, or if you buy MES, then it will cross it over to ES. You've got to be careful, make sure it's always turned off when you're not using it. It's just because the last few weeks has been tough trading, so I kind of reduced my risk a little bit. I've blown, as you probably just saw, a couple of my accounts hit my trailing drawdown. So I'm just trying to minimize my trailing drawdowns while it's during these tough trading periods. And then when we get back into trending markets again, then I'll go back up to my higher risk, my ES contracts are free. So what we're looking at now, we've got a positive Delta on a red candle. Let's just see whether we have follow through. Lots of buyers up here, so we're not showing lack of buyers. The sellers though are absorbing. You can see buyers coming in as well on the Delta down here. So Delta and price are in the same direction as each other, which is a good sign. We just want to see it break out over that pre-market high, and that would hit our first target. Anybody else in the trade with me? While we're waiting for something to happen, don't forget to hit the like button, please. Don't forget to subscribe as well, so you get notified when my video drops today. It's that brilliant trade we did, a rejection at 7,700 a couple of days ago. And it's one I called out in the pre-market. We talked about it. I said it's a key area, and we had a pre-market plan for it, which is really important. And it made it really easy to trade because we had a pre-market plan. Here we go. About to hit target, hopefully. I don't want to preempt it, but it looks good, looks strong. I see the buyers coming in. So King Me said he was in the trade but got out for 121 profit. Good for you. And Mo is at work and just observing. So that's target, first target hit, nice and easy. So now I'm going to go to break even for a totally risk-free trade. And how easy is this for a trade? Another easy trade. So King Me, 121 profit. That's decent. You know, most people work a whole day for that. So that's a decent amount. Do that every day. That's a great side gig. Imagine if you had 10 eval account or 10 paid accounts on Apex, or 20 accounts. That would be $2,000, $2,000, almost $3,000, and that's a day. Again, people work a month for that, and that's what we're trying to achieve here. Trying to make our lives much more comfortable with a decent strategy, decent process. The important thing is the process and the risk management. So whatever happens today, I am up 150 per account. These are MES accounts I'm trading. So even if I stop out, the only bad thing, I'm on Apex and Legacy, you have trailing drawdown. So I don't really want it to pull back down, because obviously then you have a bit of trading drawdown. That's why a lot of my eval accounts hit the trading drawdown, because I go up like this and I let it pull back down, and that's 55. That's $5 of trailing drawdown against me. So that's why my strategy is to trail pivots rather than let it just trail out on the scalping. But when I do my ORBs, I use a bigger account. I use in fact, I think my bigger account actually trailed out as well this week. So I'm using my sim account, which copies it to my other accounts like I did yesterday and the day before. And then again, I give it a bit more room, but I use less contracts. So it doesn't affect me as much. But when I'm trading 3 ES contracts, that's equivalent of 30 MES contracts, then I stick strictly to basically I trail the point of controls on these. But I'm lower risk at the moment, so I've given myself a wider stop. Still risking about $200, $150. So I'm at 1-to-1 at the moment, and I'm at break even. So I've hit 1R. So we're right at this pre-market high, yesterday's high area now. This is a key area. I will look to add, if we can break out, let's go back to my 5-minute chart. If we can break out over on increased volume, we do have also the ORB play coming up shortly as well. So that might be a nice add as well. So just because I have an ORB play doesn't mean you have to take it, and the other way around. Having the ORB play can also act as an add if we're scalping like we are now. So if you see it set up correctly, then you want to scalp it out, or you can use another back-tested strategy like my ORB play for a nice add. Just means you can move your stop a bit higher. So King says, yeah, just just take profit set and set it comes down. I'm selling even if it comes down a penny over, I'm out. This is a person who's been burned a lot in the market. Good for you. So yeah, agree. That's the market's good at that. Market's good at burning people. My trading transformed once I ignored my setups, ignored the market, the charts, and trying to find indicators or trying to find new strategies and stuff like that. My trading transformed when I started looking at my risk management. And one of the first things I did, I went into my Rhythmic, and if you right click your accounts, your Apex accounts in Rhythmic, you've got an option right at the very top called View Risk Parameters. So in there, on all my accounts, I had 20 accounts. I don't trade 20 evals at a time anymore. Not because I don't want to. I'm just trying to trade like small amounts, 5, 10s and 15s, just trying to get past. But I had 20 accounts, and each one of them I added risk manager. I think I set it to $300. That's equivalent of 2 losing trades. So if I lost twice, it wouldn't let me trade it again. You can turn it off, but it's just inconvenient, and it's just something that slows you down. And that little bit what slows you down is just enough for you to think, oh, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Why am I turning my risk management off? And then, rather than emotion letting you jump back into a trade, it's the going into your Rhythmic trader, then right clicking it, and then going to your parameters and deleting the amount, and then hitting save, and then going back and then trying to find. By the time you've done all that, the emotions are kind of past. The immediate emotions have been stopped out. So generally, I don't use the risk management now on Rhythmic because my risk management's pretty good. But it does. I do occasionally bite myself, and go against my plan, or I overtrade. You probably hear from this before. When I'm overtrading, I've done 4 trades basically. 3 trades is a maximum I want to take. I don't really want to be taking low quality trades anymore. I used to take hundreds and hundreds of trades a day. Now I'm just looking at A++, maybe A setups, A+, A and A++ setups only. And 1 good trade is better than 100 crappy trades and make a profit. Why use all that mental power to do what you can just do by waiting? Here we go, that last candle, that little pullback into this area is a lower volume one. We had higher volume, lack of follow through. So maybe this is a break and retest. Well, I wouldn't really call it a break and retest, but off the previous pivot. We haven't broken over and closed above pre-market high or yesterday's high yet. We had a pivot above this little bit here. Technically, if you're going down into a really small time frame, it's a break and retest of pre-market high here. But most people are looking at a 5-minute or a 2-minute chart, probably won't see that. 77.55. There you go, you see it there. It wasn't really a break and retest, we're kind of still in that area. But I use footprint charts not just to find entries, to give me confirmation to stay in. Like now, I saw it pulling back. I saw reducing. I should have explained. I didn't really explain this, but look at this. We had minus 193 delta at the top, which is not a massive amount, but we had lots of buyers, so I wasn't too worried about coming out of the trade then. The next candle, minus 137 delta. So we've got selling, more aggressive sellers in each of these candles, but the delta's getting smaller. And then look at the next candle, minus 68. So that's where we started seeing lack of selling, and that's a reduction of delta and a reduction of volume. And then the next candle was low volume, but we had lots of buyers come back in, and that's why I wasn't too worried about coming out. I wasn't even going to trail out. So this is a good example of using these footprint charts and order flow. And also we got this buying pressure on the candles there as well as we were pulling back. the little divergence here, so you could have taken that as a divergence play. But this is why we use order flow, to not panic and jump out of trades. So I wasn't too worried about what I was seeing here. It was just very low volume pullback, especially when you see reducing delta, because you know that's less aggressive sellers, even less aggressive sellers, barely any aggressive sellers. So something's going to turn at some point and then buyers take control. I'm not saying they're going to stay in control. Oh, there you go. Let's see what happened there. What happened there then? We had a massive big whip down, but that's why we got our break even in place. So I'm now out of everything. Let me just get rid of my target. Just in time for the 10 a.m. news as well. So I was going to come out before 10 anyway. King Me says, so for your exits, you set a ratio like 1 to 1 or 1 to 2, but you exit before those take profits if the market data shows you otherwise. Basically, yeah. I want to make sure I can get at least 2 to 1. That's what I'm really looking for. I had a 1 to 1 because I had less contracts today. I gave myself a bigger stop area, so I had a 1 to 1. But I was watching this pre-market eye. I basically want to make sure I can get at least 1 to 1 before we hit a key level, and that's what we did today. We hit. Look at that. Talk about having a key level. Pre-market eye yesterday's high. I got 1 to 1 out of that. Went to break even really quickly, and so I got 1R today. Easy trading. Ideally, you want to have 2R risk. You want to try and get a 1 to 2 if you can. That's what I try to get. But we're scalping. I scalp the first part of the morning, and then I look for ORBs after 10 o'clock or after 9:45 after the first 15 minutes. So basically, we got out. We rejected the ORB high. We can see it on the next candle. We rejected yesterday's high and pre-market high, and now you know why I use key levels as targets. So I just about got a 1 to 1 out of that. I wouldn't have taken it if I couldn't get 1 to 1. And now look at these footprint chart. Are we looking at a left shoulder, head, right shoulder? And is this a neckline? If it is a neckline, then we might have a break and retest. 7750, that area. Remember we talked about that earlier, 7750. We're coming back up into it now. I wouldn't take a trade right now. It's so close, 8 minutes until the news. One of my rules is not to trade the news, and it should be in the ORB playbook. I'm pretty sure I mentioned it in there. And another thing as well, I use volume shelves as well. So if I see a volume shelf, then I might use that as a target. So going into my hourly chart here, you can see a massive big volume shelf to the left, point of control as well. So that would be a target. Let me go down to the 5 minute. I like looking at previous day's volume as well. So we know where yesterday's previous day's volume, we had a volume shelf sitting around 72.52. Did I not say keep an eye on that 72.50 area? And then we've got a volume shelf, one where we bounce, a big one, the point of control from yesterday around that area. That's a bounce area we're watching as well, 77.40 to 36. And then another volume shelf down here. So these are the areas I'll be looking at. Happens to be a bounce area. And then today's volume shelves, based on the current session, there's not much, they've only just generated that. Yesterday's high, look at that. So if I'm going long now, I'll probably keep an eye on that yesterday's high as a volume shelf. We've got volume coming in here as well. So, you know, I used to have, and I still do when I do my scalp, a 10 tick, a 20 tick, a 40 tick target, and a 10 tick and a 20 tick stop. But I prefer to have a meaningful number rather than a arbitrary number. So rather than have 20 ticks, I'd rather have a 10 tick stop at yesterday's low. And then, you know, you can manage your risk that way and just work out how many contracts you get. It's quite hard with futures because obviously you've got to work out whether you use an ES or MES or MQ or MMQ or gold or oil. Each one of them's got a different tick per, a different price per tick. And then you've got to work out how many points you will expect it to move or where your stop is. And then you've got to work out what your risk is. Then you've got to work out how many contracts you can buy. So, in fact, I'm writing I'm doing a video, I'm editing it right now, a futures for beginners and intermediate. It's just a start of a series of 12 course video I'm doing, and they'll be on YouTube. And I go into managing and finding the right markets for your trading. For me, ES works for me because it's slower. NQ is great, but it moves too quick, and I struggle with the scalping. ES, I got loads of time to think about things. That's why I trade ES mainly, and I trade NQ on the 15-minute chart. So it slows it all the way down for me, gives me more time to think. Oh, what did I just say? Break and retest of 77.50. And that's the neckline. Look at that, spot on. If I were to take it, I would be short probably here right now, but I wouldn't take it because it's coming into a news event. High volatile, and you can see the red and orange on my screen. That's why I wouldn't take it short. I just don't know what's going to happen before and after. But we've broken trend. So what I like about it is this. This is our uptrend. If you've been on the channel enough times, you hear me talk about breaking the trend, breaking of market structure. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder, kind of broken via that trend line. Retest the underside of that, back down. The break and the retest of this neckline. This is a great pattern here, by the way. The entry would be about here, and then we're looking for confirmations. So first confirmation is a delta flip. Then obviously we've got our neckline. Then we've got our delta. We're not getting any green deltas coming in. We have the break of the 2-minute trend as well. And then we can look at go into even more detail, looking at order flow. So do we find a confirmation here? So lack of buyers down here. We had big buying delta coming in, but lack of follow through. And then we had a negative delta, not that convincing to be honest. And then we had low volume on that pullback. Remember, we normally get a low volume pullback. So now if we stay below 77.50, it looks good for a short. I wouldn't take it, not into news. But if it invalidates that candle, then it's not validated anymore. Like it's just about to invalidate itself. 77.50, that area. But then this is tick charts. If you look at it on a smaller time frame, left shoulder, head, right shoulder, this is a 2-minute chart. That's our break and retest there. So and we're just rejecting it right now on the 2-minute. But it's not a trade for me because, as I said, news at 10. Good morning, Mayo. Welcome back. Good morning to everyone else who's joined in. So if you just came late, we had one trade today. You can see it on my screen, bottom. We had a order flow, a footprint. But basically went long. 77.40 is the area, so we're watching for a bounce. This area here, we didn't just take it because it got down there. We waited, took out that right shoulder. This could have been a head and shoulder pattern. We took out that right shoulder, went long. It did come back on me, but it didn't take me out. That's my first stop there. My second stop was just below. I want to zoom in a bit. So there we go. So I'll just stop there. Went long on that candle there. Kind of went against me straight away. Didn't hit my stop. Came close on my first 50%. But I liked what I was seeing. We had, as I said yesterday, we had lack of we had decrease in delta pulling back. So it shows a lack of sellers, or sellers starting to get a bit weak or thin. And then buyers came in, big volume on that breakout, and then we had lack of volume on the pullback, and then we had buyers come back in again, and that's where we did okay. I wasn't too worried about this trade. One of those ones where you can just look at order flow, know it's going to work. And then importantly, we had lots of buying delta coming in, so we knew lots of buyers are there. We're just waiting for buyers to absorb or to exhaust all those sellers. That's my target. Target was at pre-market high. Yesterday's high, that's a psychological key number, or a key number area. And then the rest I got out of break even. which is down here, which is exactly where we are right now, back in that area. Even if I held, I still would not have stopped out. Still would be in this trade right now. But it's a scalp. We don't hold scalps. Well, I don't hold scalps. News in 20 seconds. So just be wary of any trades you might be in. If you are, put some stops in. Or recommend put some stops in. Claude Eddy says, personally, what do you think of Nano Futures contract? Nano Future, is that the new contracts for like Apple, Nvidia and stuff? A little bit of volatility now. Or are they even smaller than the minis and micros? I think they're 1/10, aren't they, or something? Oh, look at this. For a reaction. And that's why we don't trade the news. Look at that bottom tail, topping tail on this 5 minute. I'm not sure whether I've never traded Nano Futures. I've just looked them up. CME, NES and NMQ. I'll have a look in a minute. I know CME has just released a couple of weeks ago stock futures. I'm not sure what they're called. I did look them up, and you can get them on Apex and Rhythmic. Is it I can't remember what it was. I shall look it up in a minute. But I looked, there was hardly any volume on them. And look at this. If you want to be whipped out, this is why I never ever hold into news. Or not on purpose anyway. Big bottom tail, big bottom tail, big topping tail. Back in that 50 area. Remember I said keep an eye on that 50? It was originally my pre-market plan, but obviously pre-market changed. This was a bounce area for me over 50, but pre-market put in that top and tail candle at 905, changed the pre-market high area. But we are losing it now. So I'm probably not going to trade anymore today. I've done my one trade. I'll keep an eye on this opening range. The only opening range I like right now is the breakout over opening range high, this zone, 77.56 all the way up to 77.60 long. I want to see it break out over that. That'll be a good opening range because we'd be taking out not only today's high, opening range high, pre-market high, and yesterday's high. There's lots of key areas there to watch for. But not the biggest fan of this massive big top and tail candle into that area. We know there's sellers there based on that. Could we take the opening range breakdown low? We are breaking this 5 minute uptrend. Depends where you want to draw it, probably smack bang there. Technically, it's an invalid candle because it's taken out the entire range. But my rule is it must open below the midpoint and it must close below the low opening range low for it to be a valid trade. And technically, as it opened at 76.46, it whipped up to 60, whipped back down. But that's because of news. So maybe you can ignore this news candle. We did open just before the news at 77.45. Maybe that's like resume normal service. And it is a high volume candle, so I'm not a big fan of this for a ORB short. Delta looks good for it though, if we're going to go short. Volume, we don't know whether that's legitimate volume or algorithmic volume, or from that news candle. But it's invalid. It's not a valid orb anyway, so it'd be interesting what the next candle does. So for now, this is not in my strategy, by the way, and I don't have a plan for this because it's not something I do. But that candle there, potentially you could ignore because it's an algo candle. We could look at the previous average volume for the previous candles, all roughly a decline in volume as price was breaking out. So that's not a good sign for buying. We kind of had increase in volume, which is sold up, but there were bigger candles, and then we had average volume. So maybe if this candle now breaks and closes below the opening range low, below 77.44 area, on increased volume of the previous average candle, those average areas, so over that value there, what's that, around 2,000 contracts? I mean, sorry, 20,000 contracts, 15,000 contracts. Then it could be a good break in ORB short. And again, if you don't want to take that, you can look for the break and retest. We are having a bit of a reaction to this though. I did say I'm not a big fan of that big topping tail candle. Then we had a negative candle to follow. It's likely going to be more volume as well. So it looks good for a short. It just depends how big the candle becomes. Pre-market low, there you go. That's a key area as well. That would be good if we can take out both opening range low and key pre-market low. Our stop would be at 77.47. Our entry will be down here, hopefully. That's our risk. So 47 down to 36, that's $11 risk. So if you're risking $100, that's about 2 MES contracts. How do I know? Because I keep a little thing on my little card next to my monitor, so I can quickly work out what it is for $100. That's rather than me working out. So $100 risk, $10 is 2 contracts of MES. Eight contracts would be $400. I'll just set up my platform just in case I do take it. 35 to 45. That's about $10, $11 roughly. So $10 around it. Two contracts at MES. That's $100 risk. Order flows and good for sure. Look at this. Let me just go back a bit. So we've got negative delta, small positive delta, and then we had a bigger positive delta, not much volume on that candle, and then negative deltas take control. Small positive delta, then negative deltas, just all negative. Even on these green candles, green candle negative, green candle negative, green candle negative. This is the first buying we've had coming in, but look at the delta. Red, 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 red. Um, 6,000 contracts. That could be ending volume here. if that was a low, pre-market low bounce. Increase in buying delta, by the way, with buying imbalances on both these candles. And we're back above the ORB low, so that might invalidate. Look how horrible this is. Top in tail, bottom tail. Oh, excuse me. And then lack of buyers, +9. And then just 2 aggressive buys at high. This candle +49. So this doesn't look good for buying right now as well. So hang on, that's our... We are now have an official ORB breaking candle. I'll show you on my ORB algo. Did that take it? Oh, no. Oh, yeah, if we ignore that previous candle, by the way, that's what I said. A big high volume there. So I'm going to put an order in for 2, has to clear below pre-market low. And then a target, if we want to hit our 2R on this orb. There you go, 75.24 as a pivot. It's about to trigger on the ORB short. We've broken this trend line, by the way. This 5-minute trend. That's our trend line there. And the reason I like ORBs underneath pre-market low, not on it or below it, so we don't get a false trigger in. So let's look at order flow. +9, +49, -168. I'm triggered in short now. Big negative delta, lack of buyers on that arse. Let's see whether we have follow through. Look at aggressive selling coming in. Lots of buyers absorbing these sellers here as well. So I'm currently short. Let's put my stop in now. My stop will be a few ticks above that candle, that breaking candle. So this is my risk. I'm already green. And yesterday's low is going to be my target. And look at that, 7,700. That's a bounce there as well. So got plenty of room to get at least 2R out of that. Let's see what happens. See whether we get down to that 72. So this one I'll just leave running now. This is my my ORB play. And let's just tick off the rules. So we broke consolidation. It's not a rule I have, but like it, we broke pre-market low. We broke opening range low. We are kind of a little bit against trend. We're going with the delta as well. Massive aggressive selling coming in. The only thing I'm not a big fan of is it's in an uptrend, but we have got below that consolidation area as well. It's a key area, so I want to break down below. So we are breaking that area as well. So for me, it looks good for the short. Gold selling, Bitcoin selling, Russell selling. Dow Jones is kind of a bottom tail, but it has been selling. The only one's not selling is oil at the moment. We've gone past the news candle as well, so we're not under any news events now. There's nothing now until 12:15. So this looks good. And then we looked at the order flow a minute ago as well. We saw all this aggressive selling coming in. Lack of follow through from buyers. So that's the important thing. And here we go. We're selling quite well now. So a nice easy trade. NASDAQ has just died, by the way. ES is just dying as well. How about this? This is straight out of the ORB playbook as well. Again, got it in front of me. This is the book I've written. You can get it on Amazon or you can buy it from my website. All the rules in there. The only rule that's not in there, and we discussed that, the reasons for it, was that data candle at 10 a.m. That was a big top and tail. I said, let's ignore that candle because that's an algo candle. We don't want that to reflect. But we had higher selling than all the previous candles, showing us that, you know, especially the buying candles as well. The buying candles were reducing volume. The selling, we had bigger increased volume on that breaking candle. That's why I liked it short. Look at this, it's doing really well already. Negative deltas on these green candles. And then only positive 68 aggressive buyers on that last candle. So still I like the short here, even though we're pulling back a bit. We have to allow a little bit of movement. It will pull back. And we've got reduced volume on that pullback candle as well. Let's see a sell-off. Hopefully we have a bit of a sell-off, but we've had 1, 2, 3 candles in a row, 3 red candles. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 red candles in a row on this 5-minute chart, including these little indecision candles. So we might have a little bit of a pullback. A break and retest of pre-market low could be a add to this trade. And pre-market low is 77.36. We did say keep an eye on 77.46 short as well. I'll go to my Discord again. This is the levels and plans we had today. 77, watch that area for a bounce. So I will be wary if we get down to that 77.10 area. I'll be trailing by that point anyway if we do get down there. ORBs under pre-market low, 77.36. Look at that, exactly where we are. So we've done that trade. Over 77.50, we didn't trigger. And then we took the bounce, 77.36, all up to 77.40. That's a bounce we took earlier. And then we've got below that area, big confidence area. And then we look for shorts. And then that's pretty much it. So going with the plan. This is the plan I did at 9 AM Eastern time or 2 PM here in the UK. What's it now? That was 2 hours ago. Over 2 hours ago. No, an hour and a half ago, sorry. So let's have a look at this pullback. Negative down, negative, small positive, negative, 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 small positive, negative delta. Then we've got a slightly bigger positive delta, followed by a positive delta on the topping tail candle. And this is the interesting bit now. Are we going to get follow through? Big positive delta, the first positive delta we've had for a while, but a low volume candle. Not overly fussed about this. We are coming into pre-market low now. This could be a break and retest of pre-market low. I'm coming back into that confidence area. Look at that area on the 5-minute chart. Loads of confidence there. Let's see what happens. So I'm back on my break-even area now. Small positive delta on that last green positive candle. So doesn't look good for longs at the moment, I must say, because we've got lack of buyers. And we can see that we've got the first bit of buying coming in down here as well on the delta. So we can expect a bit of a pullback. Hopefully not pullback enough to take us out. 77.47, that's our rejection area as well. So hopefully we don't get anywhere near that area. And then this is also another area to watch. A break and retest of opening range low. Look at the volume. Half the volume of that red candle. What time do we have? Still got half the candle left to go. Are we going to reject opening range low? Let's see. So we could look for an add, and it'll bring our stop closer then. Add to reduce our target. So let's come up with an add then. This is a valid pattern I always look for. Break and retest at opening range low or pre-market low. So if we reject opening range low, I want to keep an eye on that 76.36 area as well. In fact, I won't add because it'll be in the red if I add. So I'll only add if we get back down below. But look at this, it's about to hit a stop. How about a reaction? Yesterday I did the ORB. If you was here, I got literally whipped out at the right on my stop, and then it just continued on and carried on without me. That was a frustrating trade. I think I put it in the YouTube on the stream as well. Said just been whipped out, and then it went on and hit 2-3R. I think it did okay. It would definitely hit 2R because I saw it hit 2R. Craig says no trade today for him, calling it a day. I don't blame you. Yeah, good when you know when to walk away and you walk into the weekend without not being on a red day, which is a good thing. So this will be left now. I'm not going to touch this trade. So I would like to take an add if we get back down below pre-market low, so I can reduce my target a bit. But if I don't add, then I'll just leave it as it is. I'm pretty much up there. It's about to stop me anyway. There you go, I'm stopped. So that leaves me breaking. Oh, I'm $8 profit today. So I'm about to say break even. Let's just get rid of my target. This could just be a natural pullback as well on a lower high on this 5-minute chart. Right back in that confidence area. This is the area I said I like for a bounce. Was the floor, now it's the ceiling. Big negative delta. Is it going to be another one of those ones where I get stopped out at the high and then it just sells off all day? Probably. My stop's always one tick above, or at least 1 or 2 ticks above the actual candle I'm watching. Don't forget, please hit the like button. Really appreciate that if you could. Try and get some of the YouTube algos working on this channel a bit. So break even day for me today. That's it, I'm done trading now. I've had my scalp, I've had my ORB play. ORB was in profit for a bit. I was waiting for it to hit my or the pre-market low. Yesterday's low area. It was an inside day, so I didn't really talk about the inside day, but if you go back to the old playbook, inside days is a scalping day. So it's smack bang inside yesterday's range. Would I have scalped it out? Maybe I would have trailed down here. No, probably not. Not sure what it's doing down there, but I wasn't overly convinced of buyers. Well, I suppose we had a lot of buyers come in when we broke out here, so maybe I would have scalped out on that big buying candle there. That's around 77.37, but it wasn't far off my stop anyway, so yeah, it's very, close to my stop, but not far off. So I probably would have scalped out. But look at this. Red candle, I'm sorry, green candle, lower volume, green candle, lower volume. And it's now rejected that area. Remember I said lower volume, and then we could expect a rejection around here or some sort of reaction. Just notice my feed's a little bit delayed, so I'm just going to remove some stuff to see if there's anything that's causing it. But there you go, the algo didn't take the trade because the algo knows both MES, or only because the algo didn't take it because it already had a previous candle, that news candle. It was higher volume, so it didn't take it. Whereas we ignored that higher volume candle because it's a news candle, and I just used the average candle coming into that. So I went against my algo and I lost. So algo 1, me 0. Thank you for the likes, appreciate that. Right, and just do a quick screenshot. So I'm just doing some tests on my system while I'm not doing much. No, it says YW, so I don't know what that means. I'll be back in a second. And here we are, still sitting around that opening range low areas. Could be a break and retest of opening range low.
You right, man? Do you not want to go for a park?
No.
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 Ah, can I just go on my own?
No.
Hiking. That's free.
No.
Why not? Because you have to be 12 or over.
We need to have that distance.
Back again. Right, what was the market doing? Not much. We're just sitting in between. I'm just reloading my workspace, just doing some tests. There we go, back again. Just get my indicators back. So smack bang inside that opening range again. Tough trading in that area. Good morning, Lewis. Or good afternoon, Lewis. We are breaking out a bit now. Look at this, nice aggressive buyers coming in. Buyers coming in on the Delta. Haven't quite taken out that pivot high yet. I gathered you might have been from UK or Europe, where you said afternoon. That's why I said by default I've replied good morning. So say saying good morning. So welcome, Lewis, a fellow Brit. I appreciate you popping by. Whereabouts in the UK are you? I'm right on the south coast, right in a place called Poole in Dorset. Haven't taken out that pivot yet. What's that, around 77.50? That's an area we were watching. It's the midpoint as well. Same struggle and locked into the US time zones, indeed, yeah. I see. When I first started trading, I was trading the UK market, the Asian market, the US market. It was tough. So now I just trade the US market. It's a good time. Oh, Norfolk. You know what? It's a place in the country I've not visited. I've got family, friends in that area. So welcome. So welcome to the stream. Appreciate you coming by. So on here we talk mainly about order flow. Yeah, I'd love to go to Norfolk. I do a lot of hiking. In fact, one of my other channels called Paul Outdoors. I do a lot of hiking. I do a lot of hiking, mountain climbing, stuff like that. I'll put my link in. There you go. In fact, I'll give you. This is my new website, relatively new website. You can find my channel on there as well. Foraging guide. Thank you. Yeah. So this is my primary channel. The other one's my kind of my hobby channel, but trying to build them both back up. And join my Discord as well. I've got a Discord. Be good to catch up. And there should be a link in the description for the Discord. It's a small community, but it's good because when you've got a small community, you've got lots of little eyes. Everyone's got their own eyes watching the market. Hopefully we can work with each other. Looking at the other sectors right now, NASDAQ is back up to the higher today, a little bit stronger, showing more relative strength to ES. Dow Jones is kind of retesting pre-market low, ORB low. The Russell's looking a bit weaker as well, doesn't look as strong. Bitcoin looking a bit stronger now, kind of back to where it started. Still nothing really standing out apart from oil at the moment. Saying that, it's just putting a top in tail. I'm looking at 15-minute thumbnails. One thing I've not looked at today is SPX. No, that's at yesterday's high as well. So coming into this pre-market high, yesterday high, opening range high, all these key areas. You see, this is my 5-minute chart, top right corner. I'm just highlighting the areas on watch. If I were to look for another trade today, we'd have to be on a breakout of that area and a retest back down. I do not want to go long into those regions because they're big key levels. Pre-market high, yesterday's high, opening range high. So my strategy is to wait for it to break out above that area. But look at the volume, decrease in volume as price is increasing. It's not a convincing long, if you ask me. Lewis says, how long have you been trading for, and are you trading futures or blend of small caps, blue chips, futures, etc.? I used to trade everything. Now I just trade futures only. I trade stocks for swing. I do swing trade stocks. In fact, I use a company called CMC Market. You might be interested. CMC Markets, because all profit is tax free. That should hopefully get you interested, because CMC Markets, it's basically spread betting rather than buying shares, contracts, stocks, equities. So you don't get taxed profits on gambling here in the UK. So I'd recommend checking it out. If anyone else from the UK, CMC Markets. I'll put a link in as well. It's not an affiliate link, by the way. This is what I use. I use that for swing trading mainly. So Lewis says, I'm a small cap trader, trade on Lightspeed in the US, and in the past year added futures into my income stream. Good for you, yeah. Well, check out CMC Markets then. Let me know what you think. So this is my swing trade. The government doesn't give you much and you pay tax on everything, so this is a way of not paying tax on profits. Until they close that loophole. Amazon. I was long Amazon. That stopped me out. That was my last swing trade I had. That was oh, it just whipped me out under the previous daily consolidation area. But I might look for a re-entry if we can break out. It looks like a buy setup on Amazon. This is a swing play, by the way. If we can break that down trend line, then I'm looking for a long over 262, 265, that area, potentially. So here we go, opening range, or sorry, the 5 minutes broken out over the pre-market high, yesterday's high area. We do have that news candle pivot. Volume wise is average. Yeah, we do know about it. Yeah, that's why CMC markets. It's not an affiliate or recommendation. I don't make anything from doing it. Just when I was doing my research on spread betting, that's when it came out. Well, I've been away most of August. I've only been back this week. I'm slightly green. I've had a couple losing days, couple winning days. So probably closer to break even than anything. And I've only been trading 4 or 5 days. I've been away for the rest of it. I found July and August, or July, to be the last few months have been really tough trading conditions. Going back to my ES, let's go in. I'll just bring my trading view in. Go into the daily, weekly. Here you go. So I struggle. I do really well on these trend days. So this is when I do okay in these times here. But when we start going sideways, that's when I struggle. I struggled a little bit on the last few months here. Did okay start of August. I was away for most of August. So I missed all that consolidation, which is good. But I've been refining my strategy. I refine it all the time. I don't change it. I just refine it. And then go down to the daily. I've got a book on Amazon called the ORB Playbook, and I talk about defining the type of structure, the market structure, and the day you're in. So we've got trending days, ranging days, and then we've got inside days, such as that candle there, this candle here, these candles here, inside days. And I play the market differently depending on the type of market we're in. I also look at market structure. So, you know, I found it really tough. Basically, the tough days were these days here, when we're trending inside really hard. But when we start breaking down, especially here, nice profitable. Beginning January was good for me as well this year. Did okay on these trending days, but I just struggle when it does that. Look at that horrible market. So I'm refining my strategy. In fact, my strategy right now is I've downsized all my risk a little bit, and I'm just waiting for us to break out of these ranges. So go back a few years. I've been trading now 5-6 years. Go back a few years, and I was jumping from strategy to strategy, from indicator to indicator, from setup to setup. But now I've nailed my strategies. It's just a matter of refining the process and repeating. So look at this for a breakout. This is an ORB breakout, but look at the volume. We've got a big wide range candle, massive big wide range candle compared to the previous candle. But look at the volume, identical volume. You could even say, so for me, it's not even a valid ORB breakout, I don't think. Let's go to my algo or my strategy on TradingView. It's not even triggered on here as well. So look at this trading view, lower volume than the previous candle. So that's not a valid breakout, not a valid orb for me. We said it about earlier, the volume didn't look great. Decrease in volume as price was increasing. So that goes against my plan, it goes against my strategy. So I won't be taking it long. It may work, but it's not for me. So that's why we use volume and order flow. Can we see anything exciting happening on the order flow and the footprint? Lots of aggressive buying coming in. A selling candle, buying delta. Yeah, it's a tough one. We've got aggressive buying coming in, but just not the volume. And here we go, now we're rejecting back down. So going back to the comments. I agree with you, Lewis. Sometimes the best trades are the ones you don't take, indeed. You know, a lot of my strategy is especially the orb as well, is knowing when not to take the trade. So anyone can take trades, but not anyone can know when not to take a trade. 100% the best strategy is a basic concept of how you like to trade and play out and how you can handle those emotions. Then you repeat and tweak until you start to see a benefit. Exactly that. So I agree with that. NQ is calling for 801. Not sure. Hang on. I've not really looked at NQ today. It's definitely breaking out. It's doing but on reduced volume as well. So I'm not a big fan of that myself. Would I take it on a 15? Maybe. It's breaking out. I'd like more confirmation. And then 2 trades for me today. I took NQ long from close. That's good. So you hope from the close. So hopefully you did okay. And then 250 risk close for 711. That's not bad. Good for you. So on this, I mainly trade prop firms. I've got a combination of eval accounts and paid accounts, both on Top Step and Apex. And taking a bit of money out of them this year. But I've struggled the last few months. It's been tough. Look at this delta down here. Buy, 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 buy. We could have taken the delta divergence play around that area. 7750, that's that area we've been talking about today. 7750 as well. A break and a retest long over that. Not for me. I've done my 2 trades for the day, so I'm just happy to watch the market. My ORB says over 7750, so we could technically take it as part of the plan. So Lewis says position was 86 points. Opening range play was only 40 points, but that was a nice 800 on a combined. Good. I have 2 trades a day and that's all. That's great. That's good risk management. Knowing when to walk away. No, not to overtrade. I struggle sometimes when I'm over trading. I've mentioned this earlier. It's normally when I get to about 3 or 4 trades. In the old days, I used to be trading 50, 60, 80, 100 times a day. Probably more than that. I think once I was 250 trades in a day. Now, 1 or 2, possibly 3. If I hit 4, I've definitely overtraded. So Lewis says, also funded with Top Step. Yeah, I agree, Top Step's good. Then I have 2 Lucid funded and 4 Tradeify. Do you know what? I've heard a lot about Lucid. I've never really looked into them. And 1 combined. Generally add an account a month. That's not a bad idea. And anything over 3 trades, brain is melted. Yep, indeed. So the only trade I would take today now, if I see it set up, is a break and retest of this opening range. So we do need to pull back down on reducing volume. So we want to see lack of buyers coming in as we sell off, you know, at least weakness from sellers, sorry. And then we got a a bounce of these pivots, a bounce of that pivot, a bounce of pre-market high, a bounce of opening range high and yesterday's high. That's a valid trade I look for every day. It goes with the general trend as well. We're in this hourly uptrend as well. This is my 5-minute chart. So a break and retest back down to 77.55 to 77.60 area. That's the only play I like today. I won't be taking it. I'm done trading for the day. I'm probably going to call it shortly as well. But if you're looking to trade on, keep an eye on that. Again, this is for educational purposes only. I do not offer financial advice. But if I was going to look for something myself today, it would be a pullback into that region. 77.60 down to 77.55 for the long. And I'll just I'll just bring my ORB strategies in for a second. So we had a big push there on decreasing volume. I'm not a big fan of the long, to be honest. The ORB didn't trigger as well. That's a breaking candle because it's on less volume. So again, NASDAQ, big push up, reducing volume. So showing lack, you know, maybe we might just grind upwards today. We could hit that 801, that area there maybe. But for me, I want to see increase in volume as we start breaking out. But we didn't have that. We had decrease in volume. We are taking out previous day's highs though. So that's why the only longs I like on both is a break. If it comes back down and retest this area, that's an ORB break and retest. But there's strict rules on that as well. I'd only take it if I see decline. So we've had some red candles with decline in volume. I see decline in red candles coming back down into that area. Then I want to see a big increase in green buyers as we break back out again. So something like that. Decline in volume and then increase volume. That shows you commitment from buyers, and it has to bounce off of that previous day's high, pre-market high, opening range high as well. So at the moment, this is just really extended. You don't normally get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candles in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We did there, and we pulled back. 1, 2. We had 2 there. 1, 2, 3, 3 there before we pulled back. Go back to yesterday. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then we had a big pullback. So, you know, 1 candle, 2 candles, then you should start thinking about taking profit. 3 candles, start really thinking about taking profit. 4, 5, 6 candles, start thinking about when that pullback happened. It did actually pull back. And then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 candles, that's really extended. Look how far away we are from the moving averages before we bounce back. Right, I'm going to call it a day, I think. To look at the last few comments. Last structured pivot point. This is from Lewis. It's great how we see different things. I agree. Yeah, I've been long when other people have been short, and we've both come out profitable on that. Help me understand other buyers and sellers' thought process. That's exactly why I like talking to people in this community. Key to managing trades, perspective on where true buy and sell zone lies. Yeah. So it's really good seeing other people's perspectives as well. Me, I look at volume. Volume for me is key rather than price action. And I'd rather not take a trade if I'm not a big fan of the volume. But we are in that part of the day now where things just grind, volumes kind of lowering down. So I'm going to call it a day. Been on here way longer than I wanted to. Have a lovely weekend. Remember, I won't be around on Monday. I'm going to be away. Going to Silverstone for the Car Fest. So I'll be back Tuesday. I'm not sure I'll have this live stream running. Hopefully I can be around to get the 24/7 one running, the ES and MES. It just data dropped out on a Saturday and I had to re-enable it on Sundays. So trade safe, A+ setups only, and obviously don't want to go into the weekend on the green. Look at this. Look at this for buying power. Or buying potential. Buy. That's algos, that is. Look how symmetrical that is. Similar size candles. There's no pullback. So there's definitely some sort of algo buying there. You can see it all the same size as well. So you probably don't want to be buying with the algos. That's why for me, I like, if it pulls back, look for a bounce down in that area. Lewis says, my NQ entry today, I saw news drive and press lows held by higher time frame, long-term EMAs on the hour. Decent, yeah. And break and retest of session rewrap. Retest held. Not sure what STF means, sorry, my brain's not thinking that. Oh, seller. And I enter my long with 4 years of back testing, backup long control and test sessions. Target would be 801. Hopefully it hits your target. I'm not sure where we are now. I've got my curtains open, so I've got a big glare on my NQ chart, so I can just about see 70, 92. So you're not far off target. Okay, I'm going to leave you to it. Good luck, Lewis. Hopefully you hit your, well, in fact, I don't like saying good luck. We don't do luck in trading. So just stick to your plan. So hopefully your trade works out. Pretty sure I might get up there. Thank you, Mo. Have a good weekend as well. And I'll see you on Tuesday. And I will see you Tuesday. So trade safe, A+ setups only. And I appreciate everyone. So I appreciate everyone. If you're still here and you're listening, please hit the like button. Really appreciate that. Try and get the YouTube algos finding this channel a bit. And I will see you on Tuesday. Appreciate everyone. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Lewis, as well. Okay. Have a good weekend.